left off at the point where we've been talking about connective tissue. And one of the things that was really huge was the list for connective tissue. Okay? We had, for example, dense regular, dense irregular. We saw that we had the bone, that we had the blood, that we've got the muscle. And what it's referring to is, you know, we're going to have a lot of stuff that we're having to pay attention to in the matrix. What do you remember about the matrix?
It's in the cell.
Around the cells. And with epithelial tissue, we're looking at this extracellular stuff, okay? Stuff that's going to be outside the cells. And in the epithelial, we saw, for example, that it had like little extracellular fluid, or it could have had more. But now, as we've gotten into connective tissue, because connective tissue, this matrix, all right, when we're looking at the matrix, just like the movie, okay, where it looks like stuff is moving through a gel, okay, like soft jello, okay, we're going to find stuff, all right, these are fibers. We mentioned that there are 3 types of fibers: the collagen, the reticular, and the elastin, all right, and then we mentioned that we're going to have some cells that'll exist in that matrix. Some of them were like white blood cells, helping with fighting infection, okay? We noticed that for some of it, if we go back, let's go back a slide, those were the fibers. Fat cells can be present. Those mast cells, which are falling into the white blood cell range, okay? White blood cells, macrophages, we're going to end up with all those cells that are going to be in this matrix. And platelets, stem cells, something that has, you know, a lot of controversy around it. But the stem cells, if we're looking at a particular matrix, stem cells are going to become very important to these tissues, all right? Because stem cells can help give rise to something, okay? We mentioned that there could be some hyaluronic acid, for example, the humor of the eye. When we look at cartilage, okay, becomes important there. We had these proteoglycans, these proteins and a sugar, okay? The cool thing, trap large amounts of water. So for that particular tissue, they can function to help trap water. Good example, once again, cartilage. How many of you appreciate cartilage in your body? Okay, let something go wrong and then you'll really appreciate it. Adhesive, helping hold these little proteoglycan aggregates together. Cartilage. I keep going back to cartilage because cartilage we're going to find is a very special connective tissue. Okay? Now, looking at some of these materials that can be present in the matrix, our fibers. Collagen, reticular, elastic. Collagen. Collagen fibers are pretty much going to be found in almost all of the connective tissues because they are such a good building material. Now, let me just stop there for a second. Building material. So make you think about anything. To hear building material. What comes to your mind when I say buildings? Glass. Maybe like this huge building we're in right now, okay? What type of material is helping the structure of this building? Bricks? Steel bars. How else do we might know the name for that? Go ahead, you're about to say it. Rebar. Okay, have you ever seen a huge building like this where usually the first thing they're doing is putting together the skeleton of it, okay? Where it's going to have a lot of like cinder block and concrete posts that go up and everything. Is it only just concrete that's being used? No. How do we stabilize concrete? With rebar. Huge metal pieces that can be like chunked down or placed in a certain position, and then concrete poured over that, and you've got the stability now of that concrete. Guess what collagen does for us in our bodies? It acts like rebar. It's a good structural material. So that is what that means. Collagen, very present within the body and very much structural for a lot of these tissues. Now, reticular, elastic. Reticular, we're going to be very dependent upon in certain organs of the body. For example, the spleen, the lymph nodes, okay? Elastic, think about parts of your body that are elastic. Can you think of anything that might be elastic? The what? Well,
I said
tendons, ligaments. How about
Nose.
okay? And how about my ears? Okay. Some of this cartilage. Okay, now let me think here for a second. Of these tissues, of these parts of the tissues that I have talked about, I've basically said, okay, I've got stuff that can act like rebar for concrete. Whoa, wait a minute. I just gave you some information. What did I tell you about part of your body? Is every piece of your body nice and soft and squishy? No. All right, and now I'm like telling you that we've got this elastic, and this elastic allows for stuff to be stretchy and movable, sort of semi-solid, okay? And then we got stuff that is completely squishy, okay? Doesn't mean some fibers are not present, okay? So all these parts are helping with this connective tissue, meaning, just like the term implies, connecting something, okay? Now, the little proteoglycans, the ones that I said remind you of like a test tube brush or a baby bottle brush or something like that, okay? What was the cool thing that I said about these? They can trap a lot of what? Water. Okay. I mentioned cartilage. Do we need to trap water in cartilage? Oh yeah. Okay, don't worry. I'm going to explain why. Okay, and this structure right here is the reason that we can do that. And it's really cool.
What's the name of those structure?
The proteoglycans, the little protein sugars. So we end up with this connective tissue. Now, the connective tissue can be liquid, soft, squishy. It can be semi-solid or a solid. So we have a huge range of what it does. The cells that it's going to house are going to be what keeps that tissue alive. The only embryonic connective tissue that I'm really keeping from the chapter is this one for mesenchyme, because we do have the embryonic connective tissue, the adult connective tissue. When we look at mesenchyme from the mesoderm, we're going to see little collagen fibers in a semi-fluid matrix. When we're an adult, well, no. But egg and sperm meet, fertilization occurs, baby begins to develop. There is an area that when a baby is born, that some of this embryonic connective tissue can be found. It's termed Wharton's jelly. It's found in the umbilical cord. Now, for the I don't know how many years they've been doing it, but for quite a few years now, they've given parents the option to store the umbilical cord when the baby is born. Can you think of a reason why? Stem cells.
How do you store it?
They just put it in a bank, which means they put it into probably great big huge freezers, and it stays there for a certain amount of time. They're banking the stem cells so that if something happens to the offspring for quite a while, they have access to the stem cells that they might be able to use to help the offspring. Just something to think about. So when we think about this adult connective tissue, do you remember the huge list? We had connective tissue proper, supporting connective tissue, fluid connective tissue. Remember that huge list, okay? Under connective tissue proper, loose or dense, supporting, semi-solid, solid. Okay? So fluid is the blood. So we're going to look at what we consider loose, dense. We're going to look at what's semi-solid, solid, and a fluid. Now, loose, or what's termed areolar connective tissue. Yes and no to think about the breast, okay? But this is found in other places than just that area of the body. Now, loose packing material of most organs and tissues. You may see it sometimes listed as being the stroma. That may be something you come across in a medical chart. For example, one of the things that we have going with this attaches our skin to the underlying tissues. It's going to be a superficial fascia. Do you know what it means to have the term fascia? When you hear that term, it's a sheet, okay? It's like a sheet of something. So this underlying sheet is under the skin. We know it as the sub-Q layer, which we also term the hypodermis. Okay? So it's what's found underlying all of your skin. So that is a huge amount of this tissue in your body. Now, let me check this out for a second. All right? Contains collagen, reticular, elastic fibers. As of right now, this connective tissue underlying my skin has all three fibers.